Well, how are you, my friends? Usually, all the new YouTubers and all the experts of YouTube, they have lots of animation and lots of new title cards and lots of awesome things going on. Since we are not that much kind of a pro in YouTubing, so we'll try to start in a very modest way. With me, I have two of my very good friends. Mr. Khubaib Hasan, he's from Germany, and he's a consultant engineer. And with me is Miss Seda Tomris Cakmak. She's from Turkey. She's an educationist. And me, myself, I'm Haad. I'm from Pakistan. I am also an educationist. I think so. Well, so, let's move on. The thing is, we were trying to, make a new content for YouTube. And everyone has their own concept of YouTubing. Some people have discussions, medical discussions about Corona. Some people have technical conversation about Corona. So we were thinking, what would normal, ordinary people think about, the daily routine regarding the coronavirus or any other topic for that matter. So I would like share a small story with you too, and maybe you people would jump in. So the thing is, there is a problem with most of the people around us. During the Corona pandemic, people are very much, inconsiderate towards the psychological aspects of people who are in distress. For example, there is a WhatsApp group I have joined in Turkey. And there was a Pakistani girl who came on Twitter, and she said that I am very much afraid of the Corona pandemic, and I'm not feeling well. I want to go to Pakistan and stuff like that. So you know what? The Pakistani people, her countrymen, they actually started to defame her, and they started to mock her, and they were saying that, oh, she's lying, she's having makeup, so what's the problem? She's not even crying, and she has good Wi-Fi, and her room looks good. So I was like, why you are saying this? Like, if a person is saying I'm in distress, why he or she cannot groom him or herself? So if a girl is doing makeup, so cannot she be in distress? Or if a person has not shaved up, so that means he's okay, he's not, there is no problem. So there is a hypocrisy. They, if a girl is crying and she has no makeup, then people would believe her. So I don't know what's happening. It's crazy. What about you people?
Well, you can judge from the gestures and expressions that we are holding at the moment. With grown beer and rough and tough. There is a saying in Urdu. Uh, Actually, it's a song. Haj, you might know, and Sedam, you may not know this, but it's about मैं कपड़े बदल के जाऊं कहाँ और बाल बनाऊं किसके लिए? For whom should I change my clothes? For whom should I make my hairs? So this is what it's all about. So this is actually the pandemic situation which we are talking about, and into which that girl has fallen. So I can also share a story just like that. There was a friend of us in Germany, and we were new like 10 years ago, and it were the winter times, snow, everything was white. And for us, because we belong to the region where we do not have a lot of snow in Pakistan, so for us it was very exciting for the couple of days, and for him it was already depressing. And after a week, he actually started boxing with the window. He was so depressed. He was so depressed, and unfortunately, 10 years before, there were not that much social media pronounced actually to share his stories and things. But he was actually moved back to his country. But things does affect, and that was just a temperature, I would say. That was just a color which affects. And here now in this pandemic, we are dealing with not only, I mean, the temperatures or the colors, but actually with people. We don't see people around. And as we speak about people, we are social animals, which we usually consider ourselves. We need people around us. So it does affect. And if that girl is in distress, I totally agree. So much sympathies for her. And I hope there will be a way. Sarah, what you say?
Well, I think I just want to say that no matter where you are going, even if you're in Turkey or in Pakistan or in Austria or in Germany, it wouldn't make any difference because the world is occupied by a virus actually. And before the pandemic, every people has been on rushing. Every people have been on rush. Everyone has followed some kinds of a fashion. Everyone want to be something or try to be something, even if they have been. Even if they have either with control or without control. I mean, everyone has tried to be a part of something. As Khubaib said, we are actually a social animal. Um, I just, my mom just called me. She's in Austria, and she just called me. We want to come to Austria. Everything is gonna be fine here. I mean, shops are going to get open, And I was like, it wouldn't make any difference if I go there or if I'm actually here. I just can't go out at home. And this making people staying at home has made people to has made people to have spend more time with itself. I just also began to think about myself more. I just even came back. I just
But
actually
sorry to interrupt, but does that mean, talking about that distressed girl, does that mean that she is thinking about herself and inner of herself was distressed and that's what came out of his feeling?
I
Do you
think
think so
it's
too?
I think this you know people will always find something to talk about. Even it doesn't matter how perfect you are or whatever you do. It doesn't matter if you do everything for people. They will always keep talking about you. So
Mm.
um,
That is very true.
it's
Let
really
me tell
true.
you. Yeah, that is true. But when Seda was saying about that she is gaining weight, so I realized that I'm also gaining weight, and I read an article just 2 days ago. It was a very funny article. They said that if the pandemic over, it's like when it's ended, or inshallah it would, if Allah wills, then the people of the world, there would be a majority of obese people, fat, like the people who would gain more weight. And I then realized that there is nothing wrong with how one has weight or not. It's a personal preference. But the more obesity comes, the other diseases also comes, like diabetes and hypertension. So I am thinking, during this pandemic, a very good option would be to exercise. And I try to do exercise every day, but whenever I start something, I just sleep. So my definition of exercise right now is sleeping. So technically I am sleeping two
actually,
times. One time I sleep in the sleeping time at night, and one time I sleep when I try to do exercise. So I have changed the definition of exercise in my dictionary. Right now, exercise
Yeah.
means sleep. That's very
you
bad
know,
of me. I'm lazy.
there is something. Before the pandemic, I can ask every people: Have you ever make sport? Did even if you wanted to make sport, did you even had the time for it? Or when you had the time, did you even make sport outside? And most of the question would be no, actually, I think, because I by myself didn't even make any sport. My actual sport was running from school to home or to walk to school to home. This used to be my own sport.
That's a big sport, isn't it?
This is actually, you don't have any time to breakfast. You just keep running to school, keep running to work, keep running to horse. So during this pandemic, no one can get outside. Everyone is bored. I'm not. I'm also bored too. At the beginning, I used to keep worrying too what the work is going to be after the pandemic, but I don't worry anymore because I try to make myself busy with exercises. Like I don't do sport, actually, still not. Even if I still have the time at home at this lockdown, I just read books. I just keep studying my stuff. I'm spending much more time with my grandmother. So everything is just people have by spending much more time
with
is,
their families.
I mean this to be honest with itself actually. You know, the question is why we are in pandemic, are we by spending much more time with ourselves, are we much really honest to ourselves, you know? That's the question actually. Most people are not aware of this, so that's why people are really easy to get in a physiological, these kinds of physiological
I get it, Seda.
movement actually.
And I get it, Haad. This is the whole situation that we are talking about, or what we are trying to discuss here is actually for the people who are actually far away from their homes, including ourselves, not getting to meet our families in this pandemic. Even though some of us are living in the same country, in the same cities, some of us even can't move out in the situations where there are lockdowns. So our whole sympathies are with them, and the idea for this kind of video that we are making and discussing here is based on to give every one of us a little motivation to remove the distress or something, the negativity that is creating inside. And as Haad said, exercise. Even if you can't do, even if you sleep, but exercise is one of the very good home remedies. Any kind of exercise.
I totally agree with you, Khubaib. And you know what? I was thinking something. You know, exercise is sort of a physical activity. So I just started from, you know, the topic from psychological aspects. And then I realized, how would you help someone suffering from anxiety effects or psychological effects if you cannot leave your house? So like, for example, I was just thinking, if Allah forbids, I am, for example, suffering from a psychological attack, I am like doing, oh, what's happening with me? Everything is over, like that. So I'm alone in my room. I'm alone here. Like I'm living alone in this place. So how can someone, for example, Khubaib or Seda, you can help me in this regard? That doesn't make any, you know, sense. So I was thinking there has to be a mechanism, you know, like discussions like this, in which we can vent our problems with each other, and then maybe we can, you know, try to resolve it, stuff
That's
like that.
true. Yeah.
So
They're
that
very
was what I was
small
thinking.
things. Yes, these are very small things. The daily based routines. I mean, every day you wake up. If you're doing the home office, what are the parameters based on to which you are working, and afterwards, what are you going to do? So your whole daily routine is based on in home. What are you going to do in home? So it's not only the office activities or the cooking, eating, and gaining weight activities, you know. But activities
That
like
is the
how to
side effect
remove the
of
negativity.
isolation, you know.
Yes, actually, I get it. I mean, loss of words, loss of concentration, loss of motivation. I
That
totally
is
get it.
true. That is
I
true.
meet with my weight, you know, Marshall.
Yeah. Right.
So by the way, let me share a small interesting topic with you. You know, you know, there was a curfew where I was living in this part of Turkey, and for 3 days, you know, everything was closed. We couldn't like move out and, you know, buy stuff. So
Yes.
in the morning, you know, I woke up early today to check all the websites. I was like, you know, I would order something. I would order something. There is nothing at home. So when I opened everything, I just placed every order. And when I clicked enter, they said that there is no one to deliver. And then I realized,
Yes.
wait, That's a problem. If all the delivery people, they are also not leaving the house due to safety concern, which is very valid. So how would this online delivery work? So I was like, that's totally problematic for us. So this system, this pandemic has, crashed everything in the world.
When you can see it in every kind of part in life. In Turkey, even before the pandemic, when you want to have to do something, or when you want to build up a system, the system don't work as it should used to be. You will always find some failure in the system that doesn't work actually, that don't keep on. For example,
Wait,
my sister
Seda,
is
sorry, Seda, let me cut you something. Actually, I am not saying the system is not working. I am actually saying that if the people who would deliver in that online delivery, if they are also not leaving their own houses,
they can not.
Yes, then who would deliver?
No one, actually. That's the problem. The system doesn't work, actually.
But that is not the problem. No, but look, listen, that's not the problem of the system. That is the problem of pandemic. Because even in America or even in any other developed country, you can ask Khubaib as well. If the person who is delivering does not feel safe to go outside his or her own house, then how can you force him or her? That's my point, which I would like you to share.
That is true, actually. Here in Germany, so far, there is no lockdown. People themselves are locked down into their homes just because they're not feeling safe to come out. But if the weather is nice, they don't care about anything because psychologically they need to go out. So what happens? There are two things. It actually happened with me. I ordered a phone for me. That was exactly the day when all the shops, other than the grocery stores, they were closed. So I went there in the electronic shop to pick it up. I had this code with which I can take it from the shop, and it was closed. So the other solution was to go in the warehouse area and pick it up from there. So what the countries are doing on their scale is that they are providing local delivery stores. So if the people who are not able to go or come to deliver the product you ordered, then it's you yourself. You can go in the store, in the local store nearby, and pick your product from there. So when there is a problem, there are always solutions for them. So they are trying to cope up with such kind of solutions. But I don't know if one person is delivering to 100 people, and if 100 people are going to one single local store, where is the most of the chance of spreading the corona? So this all questions and this all discussion bringing us to the same idea of this pandemic, that we just have to wait that this situation gets clear. We have to stay at home. We have to cut our needs and wishes. Although there is a high desire of spending money when you are locked in home. If you guys agree, you spend more when you are at home.
I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you.
And even if it is saying if you buy the things you need, if you don't, all right, Haad, can you cut this thing from video? I think I just
that would be so awesome if I let it remain in the video. It would be so cool. Trust me. See, but listen, Khubaib, it's not your fault.
Okay, yes.
If we do a fumble of words, we can blame it on Corona. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's due to the Corona pandemic that we are loss of words. It's okay. I totally agree with you. I have sympathies for you.
Sympathies, okay. Thank you for this honoredness. Oh yes.
Okay, so let me share something else with you too. 1 week ago, I read an article on a news website. I would not name the news website right now because I don't know what's the copyright policy of YouTube about sharing the news outlet's name. But the article was like this. So they said that if the pandemic ends, the world would be drastically different. And the word they used, or the sentence they used, was that the globalization is about to end. So like for example, look, like just like us, for example, all three of us, for example, Khubaib is in Germany. So basically that is due to the globalization nature of this world, that we are basically intermixed in multiple cities or multiple countries. So if corona persists, then the general trend of the people is, I want you to comment as well, you too, that the people would try to stay in their own countries instead of going to other countries. I don't know if it's true or not, but for a food for thought, or for a topic of discussion, it's a very good thing. Whether it will be true or not, I don't know. What are your opinions?
I don't think that the globalization world will end after the pandemic. Instead, we have, if a country will survive, it depends on what kinds of step it will take during the pandemic. When, for example, let me tell you, as I said yesterday, the European country would not have any problem after pandemic because they are really economically strong, firstly. They not only economical, but also the health system. The health systems are really strong in Europe, even poor people can get help.
Wait, please, Seda, sorry, let me cut you again about this. The system is good in Europe. What about Italy then, and Spain?
Can you repeat it?
You said that the medical system is very good in Europe.
Yes.
So I am saying maybe that's not true, because how about Italy and Spain?
Apart that, I just want to take another example. For example, the American health system just collapsed actually, or is almost about to collapse during this pandemic. Even if the American economics are strong, actually.
So basically, there is no system in the world right now which can handle a pandemic. That's what I'm saying.
That's actually it. It is. But the thing is, the question is, for example, China has somehow controlled it. It couldn't cure anyone. I mean, it cured some patients, but it took somehow control over it. But China is still afraid of this pandemic because it didn't end like 100%, So after the pandemic, for example, Turkey is a developing country, Pakistan is a developing country. Everything, the developing countries should have should be much more carefully. Not only now, currently you can watch it on news that Turkey keeps selling or sending healthcare stuff like masks and cologne to the other European country, even Israel. That's Turkey's health system is like, you can discuss this like for endless for hour,
Yeah. Since we don't have that much time, we
of course, but
time,
during but our worries is actually economy and the healthcare mostly.
Wish you best of luck for the philanthropist activities.
So if a country should survive after the pandemic, so this is the question about the health system firstly, and secondly it's about the economy, and thirdly the discipline and how much control it can take during the pandemic. But I don't think that it will end globally, because
I would interrupt here a little bit. My perception about globalization, if we are talking about news and channels who are saying globalization is coming to an end after pandemic, I see it in another view. I assume that globalization cannot end because um, there are more charms that people feel in purchasing the products online, and there are more charm in for the people to use social media.
Mhm.
As long as such mediums are in our lives, we cannot say that okay, we are not having the globalization. You are connected to internet, you are having the news, the global news. As long as you're not listening, not choosing, not having friends globally, you can't say that you are not globalizing. Regarding the economical factors, regarding the crises that are coming afterwards after the pandemic, there is going to be a financial crisis in every country. I assume this also, but I think every country will have the capacity to cope it up. Most of the news and the news channels, without going hardly political on this topic, they create a fear for the people. They create sentences, so that people think of it, and they get in problem. I mean, but this is not what we want to do in this situation. We have to stay positive. There is nothing going to happen to the people, um, but of course, there are some psychological factors. There is a huge fact which will impact globally to all people regarding the social distancing, which we were actually talking before also. Uh, but itself to globalization, I don't see there will be a change.
Uh, okay, that's like,
Except apart of this, the globalization can actually probably sank a little bit um, of these technologies that is going to be invented for this healthcare actually, for the pandemics. The changing technology can affect the the globalizations, but the globalizations won't end actually.
by the way, with due
I
respect to
think.
both of you, I disagree with both of you. I think that there would be a change, why I'm saying, by the way, you should know that difference of opinion is the beauty of human nature. So we are not supposed to be on the same page, me and all of you too as well. By the way, why I'm agreeing is because, the uh, so like the like the thing is, why I disagree about globalization is, that after some time, people would be different. How can I put it into words? Like think about this. uh, uh, like before pandemic, when you used to go outside, you used to, shake hands. If you're, a person, you used to hug
Mm,
him,
mm,
and then you used to talk to him or her or whatever the case is. And then when you used to take the vegetables, you used to use your own hands and, just put it in the bucket, and then, maybe you are doing this, you are doing that. But when this pandemic ends, I think, which is my opinion, that people would be so much different, that there would be a new trend, like just like after World War II, people were so sick of the wars that they decided to make a United Nations, which is a different topic we will discuss sometime later.
mhm.
And that United Nations was supposed to put an end to the wars because people were dying. There were, within 50 years, there were two world wars, and people were dying everywhere. People were sick of the wars. So whenever a great event occurs in the world, people drastically change. And the only reason, by the way, this is a very interesting thing, the only reason this global pandemic has spread to the world is because of globalization. If there had been limitations to the transfer of, people from one country to another country, maybe globalization actually led to the transfer of this pandemic. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just giving my opinion.
Mm, actually, definitely, things would not be as it used to be before. Actually, um, when I firstly at the beginning of the pandemic, I just started to wash every day my hands. It just became like my hands dry out because of the
All
chemicals.
the soap. Yeah.
So this would be some kinds of common stuff would be seen on every people. Like everyone would wash their hand more. No one would shake their hand to foreigners or hug. I don't think that they would even like to meet someone that they don't know. Like
You know what? Let me try to conclude this. How about this? If Mr. Khubaib, you can conclude everything which we have discussed today and conclude it, so like we can close this topic, because there is a attention span. We should not exceed the attention span. So
Yeah.
how can you
No,
conclude this?
I agree, and I would say, for me, we have discussed a couple of topics, starting from the pandemic, lockdown, globalization, and if there is an impact on the people because of social distancing. If we sum up all these three situations that comes up to the story of that girl with which we started, actually, this all creates distress. And it is true to feel this distress. It is true to feel it. If you're afraid, if you are fearful, conclusion will be things will be getting better with time, but nothing is going to change in the next couple of days or couple of weeks, if that is the expectation. Stay positive and maintain the social distancing. And we do hope that a bright sunny day is waiting for us very soon. We will be there.
Yes,
Thank you very much from
inshallah.
my side.
Same as well. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Khubaib. Thank you so much, Seda. Thank you so much, all the audience who were listening. And we would, inshallah, be back on a different topic. Until then, see you.
Like to say, I'd like to, I just read once, the cause, just be calm, the cause is just happen around you, it's not happen to you. So just stay calm, just don't watch news, try to make something that would make you actually happy. Don't listen to anyone. People will still keep talking, So just
So basically, stay calm. That's
care
it.
for you,
And,
just
okay.
care for you
Fair
only,
enough.
and for the people you love, actually.
Okay. Thank you so much.